Good morning. So I wanted to share something with you today that is a new creation. It is this tarot casting board based off of some images that I'm reworking my way through the Rider Waite-Smith deck, and I'm cleaning it up in my own personal style. So what that means is I've been outlining, kind of not changing it, keeping it intact, but just making it more crisp for my own personal liking. And then of course I have been coloring it in the way that I like to color my own personal cards. So this board was stemmed from that. Basically it has the mandala in the background that I have used for the Fool. So we have the 0, and then these symbols is for Uranus, which is the tarot correspondence of the Fool. And then each one of the aces I thought would be really neat to put on this board for the 4 corners. Because normally when I do my daily tarot casting, I have my center card, my oracle card, and then I usually use tarot tiles for these, Lenormand tiles for these, and then I'll put like points to ponder up in the corners. But with this board, since they're full-size card spaces, you can actually use it as a 5-card spread and disregard my placements for oracle and for the tiles, or you can add other layers. So the purpose of this video is to kind of get playful with it. I've got my coffee and my cards. This little mug rug was made by my best friend Moonlit Faye, moonlitfaye.com. And Jenna makes all the bags that I use for my practice. She makes the tarot tile bags. These are tarot tiles, and the Lenormand tile bags. And what we do is we kind of collaborate and match. So like this particular Lenormand set is my Flash Lenormand, which is based off of Sawyer's Lenormand, but I redrew those images as if they were tattoo flash. And tattoo flash is basically just ready-made designs that you can go and pick up off the walls of the tattoo shop. So that's why it's called Flash Lenormand, but you can see the background there has the stars on the tea stain paper. So we use the same image for the bags, and then it's also the back of the tile. And you know, it's just fun. She also did for my Nature's Portal, she did the matching round bags for that deck. But so that's enough of the little show and tell. So I just want to kind of make sure that everything's lined up here in the video. And I'm going to do a quick little reading with this board. You know, while today is May 26th, I think, it's, you know, I always say that it's just for demonstration, but if you get a message out of it, then it's meant for you, you know, whenever you happen upon this video. But it is more for a demonstration to show you how I use the creations that we make. So I'm going to be using the Pocket of Peers Tarot deck because I'll be launching the Out of Hand Tarot, which is what the tiles are, on June 21st on Kickstarter, which is a companion deck to this deck. It will have the same cardstock, the same edging, the same backs, so that you can use them interchangeably. But let's get to the reading. Let's get to playing with this. So now I'm gonna just kind of get comfy here and see what wants to come up. I'll kind of talk myself through it so that you know a little bit of how I use these boards. So I think I'm going to use it where we use the 4 corners as additional cards, not just points to ponder. So they're going to be part of the reading. So let's cut this deck. And we have the King of Wands as the center card. And so what that does is for the central focus of the reading, when I do these spreads, that is kind of the overall energy of the whole reading. So the King of Wands is kind of that, you know, that person who just knows how to move the crowd. Like they're the mastery of fire. I look at that as like just really embodying that whole suit. And, you know, they're it and they know it. So let's see, overhead. I always like to use an oracle card for the overhead part, and it's kind of an umbrella over the whole reading. And so I'm going to lay down some cards, and then I'll give a little bit of an interpretation, and then I'll lay down some tiles and then go from there. Like my readings are kind of organic in that I talk them out. And I do suggest if you end up doing any sort of tarot casting like this, so we have the blue jay, to videotape them and talk them out, because it does help. It really does. So we got that blue jay energy over the King of Wands, and blue jays are those birds that really talk about, you know, they're loud, they're kind of aggressive, they're part of the corvid family. So if you didn't know that and you always wondered why blue jays were jerks, it should make so much sense now. So blue jays are like, shout out what you need to say. Like, don't dabble, like go for it, go all out. I mean, go all out. And I feel like if a blue jay was a court card, they'd probably be, I don't know if they'd be the King of Wands, maybe more of a knight energy, but that's okay. So with this overall thing, since it is an oracle over the tarot, it's kind of talking about what is it that you're holding back on that you need to make yourself heard and known and voiced, you know? So that king doesn't hold back. He speaks his truths. He speaks the ideas into reality. So it's kind of like saying, don't be afraid to voice what you know, right? So now I'm going to use the four corners. We're going to do this. So we have the Ace of Swords, which is the thought realm, right? So what do we need to like really think about? What do we need to think about that maybe this is the thing that needs to be voiced? And we've got the world. And maybe it's how, like, maybe we've been thinking a lot about the world and the cycles that we've been through. And, you know, are we coming upon a completion or a new beginning? But also in the same sense, like there's a lot going on in the world right now. So for this to show up in the suit of swords, it's very appropriate, especially at this time. And if you're wondering what's going on in the world and you're seeing this at a later date, you know, just kind of take some quick searches to see what was going on in May of 2022. The world is definitely in our thoughts. So now we have the cups, and you know, that's the realm of emotion, our connections, our relationships. So what do we need to know about that? Maybe what do we need to inspire and vocalize about that? And we have that Nine of Swords, and the Nine of Swords is like, we're feeling the physical heartbreak and emotional anxiety of the world, of everything, and we're not knowing how to voice it, right? So that makes a lot of sense with this, especially because it's like you're sitting in this chair, you're trying to figure out, what am I supposed to do? You know, I'm feeling the brunt of everything. Like the weight of the world is really weighing on your heart, and maybe the relationships are a little strained right now. So then we come in with this Wands energy of like, how do we inspire? What is it that we need to, how can we inspire with our voice? How can we help others take action? How can we, you know, move that crowd, so to say? And we've got the Magician, and knowing that all of the tools that you need are literally at your fingertips. You know, like you may not know exactly how to fix things or how to do it, but there is a spark in you that knows how to figure it out. And, you know, thinking about how you can take what you're strong at and what you are master skilled, you know, craftsman at, and lending it to this. It doesn't mean it's going to solve everything, but I think we're all together in this, and we have a way of connecting by bringing our strengths to that table. And then we've got the earthly realm over here, you know, how it's impacting maybe our physical well-being, our careers, our jobs. You know, the material suit of Pentacles is Earth, so this is basically how it's showing up in our everyday life, right? And we have the Ace of Cups. So I'm going to put these cards over here. So with that Ace of Cups, it's showing up because we're literally pouring ourselves into what it is that's going on. We're seeing the weight of the world. We're really feeling it, and then we're trying to figure out how to fix it or how to change it or how to make those impacts. And with this blue jay up here, it's saying we need to use our voice. We need to use our strengths. The King of Wands shows that you're a master at something, you know, and maybe it's just I saw something recently, which was really cool. It was saying that the kings could be like a visit from a future part of yourself that's like, you've got this, so go ahead and speak it out into action. Pour yourself into whatever it is that's going to make your physical world feel better, right? So you could stop right there, right? Like with this board, you could literally stop, but I like to use the tools that we make. So I'm gonna add some tiles and just show you how I will integrate that into the reading. I'm gonna add the tarot tiles first, and then the Lenormand tiles, and just really, the Lenormand helps bring some action steps to it, right? And helps with like quick solutions. So for the tarot, these are kind of like little footnotes of like other points to think about. You know, when I use them, they're not as heavy as the full center card or the whole reading, but they do add to it. And it could just, sometimes when I use them, it could just be a simple keyword that comes to mind that weaves itself into this conversation. So we have the Queen of Swords, the Hanged One, the Nine of Swords. So we get that twice there, right? And then the Queen of Pentacles. And I don't know if you can see these really up close, but the whole concept for the out of hand deck is it's the same type of artwork and styling as Pocket of Peers. It's meant to be used in tandem with it, but it's focusing in on, it's inspired by these cards actually from Pocket of Peers, which is hilarious. So anyway, so the Queen of Swords and the Nine of Swords is kind of that energy that has brought us to this point, like knowing the truth and feeling the weight of, should you say it? Should you not say it? How do I bring this into focus? Like that Queen of Swords to me has always been the person who says the truth no matter what. And, you know, and she also realizes, or they also realize, the truth is constantly evolving and changing, especially in today's world, but like they are not afraid to be questioned, but also like learn and observe and have that, like, have the audacity to actually revisit what they thought was once true and see if it still applies. Being a harbinger of truth is stressful, and that's where this Nine of Swords comes. And so these hands are coming in like this, like kind of like coming into shield our eyes from what's going on, but we can't, you know, we can't shield our eyes from what's going on in the world. And so this is where I like to bring in some Lenormand, and I'm just going to finish out the Lenormand and then finish out the reading. Because what it does is when these cards start to get too big, it anchors it. It brings it back to focus. So let's do this. So we've got the Fox. And then we've got the Whip over here. And Clover, House, and Coffin. Okay. So like I was saying, you know, that Queen of Swords with the Nine of Swords is just kind of feeling the weight of the anxiety of everything that's been going on, and just knowing that it is our duty to speak from a place of integrity. The Fox, what brought us to this is just so much outside of the box thinking. Maybe, you know, there's been some sneakiness going on, and, you know, we're calling BS on it. We're like, hey, that's not how it's supposed to be. Now that you know something, like I always love this is just coming. When you identify a problem and there's no solution for it, it might be your task to find the solution. So that's where we're sitting here in this King of Wands energy, kind of thinking about how it is that we're going to inspire those in our orbit. Like you may not be able to inspire the full world, but you can inspire your world. Like even if you help one or two people around you that's in your orbit, you know, those little changes ripple out. And so the King of Wands is sitting here and they're going, okay, I know this is my job to do this. I am so able to have my voice heard. People want to listen. I can move mountains if I inspire the right people. So then going forward, how do you do that? And we've got the Hanged One with this Queen of Pentacles energy. Plus, you know, we've got the Nine of Swords over here. So there's still that anxiety, but with the Magician, you're going, all right, you're anxious about doing something new that might change things. And anytime there's that shift, there's going to be anxiety to come with it, because what we know is comfortable. What we're going into is unfamiliar, and it's natural to feel that way. the Hanged One with the Queen of Pentacles talks about looking at things from a different perspective and seeing how you can go at it from a place of grounded, loving nurturance, you know. And with that whip, it's saying you might be going back and forth a few times until you really see what's going to be best to weave into this tapestry that you're creating for life, right? You know, I see this as coming back and forth. Like each time you have an idea with that Hanged One, look back at it. You know, right now we are still in a Mercury retrograde, so it's kind of come back, keep coming back, you know. So that's like a future step, is just taking the pause, look at how what you're doing has the ability to impact and change from the heart, but also, you know, the world around you, and allow it the space to, you know, be revisited. And then I look at these three at the bottom, the clover, house, and coffin. I always look at the three kind of as action steps, right? And for the whole reading, you know, so the house talks about our comforts. It could also be like our family, the relationships that are close to us. And the clover speaks that there's been so many little opportunities, you know, maybe you've come upon some good luck and you feel like that's ending because of the way that the world is going. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a permanent goodbye. It could just mean that there's a change coming from the way that you are comfortable. And again, it really ties into this anxiety because, you know, you can't sit here and where we are right now and look at the world and not feel change coming. And change, you know, I always think of the quote, could be good, could be bad. I can't think of who originally said it, but I know it's like an old proverb. So whenever there is change that comes with, you know, our comfort zones, and seeing it as an opportunity and seeing it as like good luck, like that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it comes back to this middle card, this King of Wands. Use your voice, be heard, and just stand in your power and know that you have something that's going to inspire those around you. And that's about it. That's the reading. That's how I use these tools. I hope that you enjoyed this little presentation and this little reading. Wherever you are in your life, I understand that we're all on different paths. So if it resonated, cool. If it didn't, cool. You know, it's not always on point. But you can find all of these tools in my shop, which is jamiesawyer336.com. If you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comments. You can also email me. I have a newsletter. I do respond to newsletters. I enjoy this conversation. On Patreon, I do a weekly reading for patrons. That is a video. But I also do one for free if you just follow me there. And that is patreon.com/JamieSawyer. I will link all this in the video notes. So I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, thank you and goodbye.